Hello and welcome to Nintendo Everything at PAX. My name is Eric Dutch, and who is joining me today?
Hey, I'm Julian. I'm one of the co-founders and content director here at Drastic Games, working on Soundfall.
I'm Nick Cooper. I'm the other co-founder of Drastic Games and the technical director.
Now, I've got a bunch of questions here, but before I lead into them, why don't you just give me a quick rundown? How would you describe Soundfall?
Yeah, so Soundfall is a rhythm-driven dungeon crawler that's procedurally generated to your music. So you follow an ensemble of characters, but our main character, if you will, is Melody, a young woman from our world who's mysteriously transported to Symphonia, this world where music comes to life. And you kind of fight off this ancient evil discord that's seeping back into the universe and try and find your way home and save the world.
So you both worked for Epic Games before this. Now, I've got to ask, which one of you two was responsible for Fortnite?
Well, we both worked on Fortnite during development, and I was at Epic for a very long time, and Julian was there for several years as well. So Paragon and Fortnite, among others.
So you both left Epic to make your own game. Why didn't you tell me about that? Just time to move on, or?
No, I think we've always wanted to start our own studio. We've known that that's been a part of the process, and then our experience at Epic, we got to work on a bunch of really cool stuff. But the times that we were really the most energized were when we were working on small projects. Or the small teams in early stages of projects where you feel like you could really make a huge impact with and get really close to the people that you were working with in a way that sometimes is more challenging once the team grows into later stages of production. So that I think was very important to both of us. Nick, you want to say something about that?
Well, it's just something we always wanted to do, and like being able to, create your own IP and be, have complete creative control was just really appealing to us.
Yeah, and you two have always worked together, obviously, like close to each other, and that's where you're kind of like, let's go both together and make our own company type thing, or?
Yeah, definitely. We grew close while we were at Epic. Had a lot of experiences there, and definitely made it clear that Cooper was someone that I really wanted to work with on future projects.
Okay. Well, in Soundfall, Melody's transported to the world of Symphonia. Now, I've got to ask. I'm a big fan of Tales of Symphonia, but is there any other non-musical inspirations that kind of went into making this?
Tons of stuff. Cooper, I'll let you jump in on that first.
A lot of great twin stick shooters like Enter the Gungeon, Assault Android Cactus. Other 2D shooters like Ikaruga are huge influences on us, Geometry Wars. And then I guess you said non-music, so I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Now, if you want to take it away, were there any music ones as well while we're at it? Just throw them in there if you want. Like any musical inspiration.
Oh yeah, I definitely think Cooper's even bigger on the music side than I am, so I'm going to let him answer that one too.
Rock Band, Guitar Hero, Audio Surf, Audio Shield, just to name a few.
With Crypt of the Necrodance is obviously a recent one. Was that recent enough that it kind of had some influence, or was it kind of like...
Oh, totally. So ironically, we only discovered the game like a year into development.
Oh, really?
But we were really excited as soon as we found it because it did so well and proved out the concept way ahead of time. Without something like Necrodancer, it would be very challenging to pitch an idea that's as divergent from normal market trends as this is. So we're super pumped that they existed.
So while we're on inspiration, why don't you tell me about Melody? Where did her design come from? And to me, she kind of feels like, I'm going to go there, guys. She feels a bit like a Disney princess. I just watched that opening scene. I just thought, I'm kind of getting that vibe off of it. But where did you guys get the design for her?
Melody's kind of been there from the beginning, I think. She emerged pretty organically. We knew that she had to be there, and I think it was actually kind of later in development that we realized it wasn't a game just about Melody, but rather it was a game about an ensemble of characters, of whom Melody was our Red Ranger or Leonardo, if you will.
Okay, so she's more your leader, but there is an ensemble of characters. Can you tell me about just maybe name drop one of those and your ideas behind?
Yeah, totally. So Bright is the other probably principal character that we've named. She's Melody's sister. Where Melody is pop princess, as you say, Bright is, we call her pixel punk. So where Melody is top 40s music or that sort of stuff. Bright is really into punk rock and a lot of alternative stuff, and we're excited to have players experience that whole range of music in the game as represented by the different characters.
Just to run one little bit further there, what about weapons? Because I know there's multiple weapons as well in the game. So, and are they all based off of music as well and everything, or?
So, our loot system and our weapons are also like procedurally generated based on the music as well. So like the song you pick is going to determine what kind of weapons you find, and those weapons are kind of like, I guess like Borderlands is a good analogy of like their weapons are procedurally generated. We're aiming for something similar, but from our, kind of top-down perspective.
Yeah, and on that subject of characters, Melody has the audio blade, which is kind of our narrative equivalent of the Master Sword, but that's sort of our expression of class. So she's got the audio blade, Bright uses a shield, other characters use a whole variety of different artifacts, we call them, and we're really excited about the kind of team play that those different artifacts create between characters.
Interesting. So, I mean, every project has its kind of ups and downs and its hard parts to implement. For you guys, what was the hardest part for you to implement in this game? And I think I already know where this is going.
Audio analysis, detecting where the tempo tap of the music was. That was quite the adventure of stress and sleepless nights. And I mean, it's going to be something we continue to improve, but getting to the point where we were happy with it was really, really stressful. But it was gratifying to get working.
Yeah, for me the feel was really good of the actual timing. I felt like I could get it down a lot of the time. Was there a lot of tweaking as to like how big a window of opportunity we can allow to press a button type thing? And
absolutely, even like today on these builds, we're collecting analytics of every single input, what type of ability or weapon it was, and whether it was early or late to the beat, to try to kind of figure out when people are, if we like need to increase the window after the beat, because the beat happens in an instant, like a little bit after, a little bit before. We're still iterating on that, so hopefully events like this will help us get closer to the right answer there.
That's exactly right. Now Julian, I actually have a question for you. You've been described as liking bright colors and watermelon flavored bubblegum. So like for me,
guilty pleasure.
When I picked up the game, I was just kind of like, I get that, because it's like taking that first chew of a bubblegum and it's just like bang flavor, bang color. Were you like kind of the lead on the art direction there, or did someone bring it to you and you were just like, I'm happy with the way that looks?
It's definitely been a collaborative process between what Nick and I have envisioned, and then of course we had the opportunity to work with some absolutely tremendously talented artists to see this stuff through. Nick Cole did the concept art for stuff like that, and he brings an energy and a style to all of the projects that definitely feeds back on us. One of the things that I guess I'll try and answer this in 3 separate pieces. The first is, one of the things that you get when you work with teams that are just amazing is you say something or express an idea and immediately something comes back to you that's way better than anything you could have thought of initially. And so that's part of the joy of that experience. So definitely collaborative. Everyone from the guys actually making the assets to, on the tech side, everybody's kind of influencing that art and that look. The second thing is, when you're working with something that is as emotionally intense as music is, the world needs to reflect that, right? This is the personification of music. What does that need to look like? Well, if music enhances and heightens and lays raw all of those emotional experiences, the art needs to convey that as well, and high saturation is a really good source of that. And the third component of that is that it's so that high octane, bright colors is so central to the rhythm genre. It's not something that we could have gotten rid of even if we wanted to.
Okay, beautiful. Nick, now I have a follow-up question for you actually. You were apparently raised on a diet of Mega Man, Zelda, and heavy metal music. True. Are we going to be listening to some rocking out tunes in this, some heavy metal music, or?
Without question. So one of the hardest things to get working with like beat detection and stuff was metal, because a lot of the times where the beat is, where in like pop songs and stuff, it'll be very clearly in the bass, and metal, it could jump all across the spectrum. And I was determined to make sure that worked, because I want to play my metal in our game.
That's fantastic. And speaking of that, on the story side of things, is there going to be a story? I think you mentioned this before.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely imagine this as having a narrative-driven component. We think that music is something that, again, we kind of discovered this almost unintentionally. Music has such a profound impact on us as we're growing up, that it really begs for a story to be told around those sorts of experiences.
Yeah, so it kind of makes who you are when you're growing up. It's what you love to listen to.
It's very rare that as a developer or designer or someone who works in media, you get to work with a media that is so tapped into people's emotions and people's human experiences. And I don't think we realized that when we started working. At least I didn't realize that when we started working with music in the game space, and it was pretty amazing.
we're back. We've all squeezed in. We're blocking people's way. We're out of the way now. Now, you guys have mentioned before that music connects in a way that's hard to articulate. Is that something that's actually something you said, Julian? Yeah. Is that something you can kind of expand on? I'm going to try give you the chance to articulate that here. And what are some of your favorite tunes, like gaming or not?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started to jump into that briefly in the last question. That as a creator, you're always trying to make products that touch people emotionally, right? Whether that's games and just trying to elate people, have a fun experience, walk away feeling better about themselves. Other games like horror or movies and music in general, you're trying to tap into some sort of human emotion, and music does that with such grace that you rarely get to get so personal with an experience like that. And I think that's at least where I was trying to go with that. It connects to us on so many different levels that it's hard to even start expressing on one way how it works. Cooper, you want to jump in on that?
So I think like growing up, music is kind of a huge part of your identity. It's like kind of, at least where I grew up, like it determines kind of who you hang out with and like how a lot of people dress according to like kind of what music they listen to.
I'm getting a lot of like when you guys grew up, that's how you would identify yourself as. This is the music I listen to. This is who I am. That's who my friends are. That's really good.
Yeah, and like as you grow up, that becomes part of your identity, and even as you kind of like shed a little bit of that like external expression of that, it's still kind of part of you.
All right, guys, well, I can tell there's a lot of passion going into this game, so I can't wait for it to come out. But I've got to ask, where can people follow you? Where can they find the game?
Yeah, totally. So we're on almost every social media, Twitter, Instagram, @SoundfallGame. We're also at soundfallgame.com. So just come check us out.
Thank you for joining me. My name is Eric Zutch, and for everything Nintendo, stay tuned to... How to get you guys to read it?
Nintendo everything.
There we go.